12 News is taking you inside Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, where students are taught how to investigate plane crashes like the one in our nation's capital using actual crash scenes.
Yeah, that's right. 12 News journalist Sean Rice spoke with the professor who teaches their aviation safety program. Sean is joining us live from their crash lab with more on how this professor is reacting to what he calls an extremely rare mid-air collision. Sean?
Yeah, Troy and Kribe, good evening to you. Professor Bill Waldock here at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University started their aviation safety program some 43 years ago. He's working to train the next generation of NTSB and FAA crash site investigators on how to exactly analyze flight wreckage like the one in Washington, D.C. a night ago. He says they're not only looking at what the physical evidence may show there on scene, but they're also working to analyze audio from both the air traffic controllers and the black boxes, like you mentioned, from the Black Hawk helicopter and that commercial American Airlines jet as well. Now let's take you inside this crash lab here at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, where students are afforded the opportunity to examine multiple different makeshift crash sites. I'm told some are recreations of real-life aviation accidents that have happened all across our country. It's all to give students the ability to create reports and reach conclusions on how they came to be. Today we walked those sites with Professor Waldock. He explained how the smallest of details can help investigators determine a potential cause. He also gave us his analysis of the mid-air collision in our nation's capital last night. With what is currently known, he says it likely came down to human error and also a lack of communication between that Black Hawk helicopter and the air traffic controllers at Reagan International Airport. He says despite having the most up-to-date technology possible, it isn't always enough.
They've got a lot of technology to help them. The threat and collision avoidance systems on board the airplane are specifically designed to prevent mid-airs. They don't always succeed. We've had a few internationally over the years, but they are part of why we've had such a safe system for all these years.
Now, Professor Waldock told me it's extremely unlikely to have survivors when a mid-air collision occurs. He says this likely turned from a rescue operation into a recovery one extremely quickly because of just how cold the water is in the Potomac River, where the wreckage from both the plane and helicopter landed in D.C. Now, here at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, at this crash lab, they have nearly a dozen real-life recreations, as I mentioned, of those crash sites. Professor Waldock tells me he expects many of his current students, maybe even some former students, to be NTSB and FAA investigators. It's all to give people an idea of exactly how something like what happened again last night occurred, also to give advice on how to prevent them from happening in the future. We're live in Prescott. Sean Rice, 12 News.
It's amazing how they have those crash scenes laid out. Like even the one behind you, that appears to be a smaller plane. And it looks like they're labeled. Like that plane is still fairly whole. And then the other one you showed earlier, the pieces were spread out, over it seemed like a fairly large area.
Yeah, Troy, the professor tells me it's really all to give them multiple different angles of different crash sites. Like you said, some intact, some strewn all over the place. He told me the smallest of details can really work to give his students an insight of exactly what happened. He showed us wreckage from just one piece of a propeller from a not a commercial plane, but from maybe a private plane. And he told us exactly how that specific detail worked to determine a potential cause in that accident. So it's really great real life experience for these students.
Yeah, and some insight into how this is investigated. Sean, that was interesting. Thank you so much for the report. Coming ahead on